You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is John Otterson, Managing Director of SVB Capital. So, John, you mentioned that your father was a serial entrepreneur, and you did get involved in some of his businesses. At what age did you actually get involved in your first company, and what are some of the things that he taught you through his lifetime of business and helping to mentor you?
You're probably the number one thing that I learned from my father was persistence. And he would tell me about situations where he would go out and try to accomplish a goal, and he would meet with multiple hurdles to that, and he would keep trying and keep working on the problem until he could eventually solve it.
He would tell you, or you just watch him?
He would talk about it. He would refer back and talking about what are the lessons of business and where do people succeed, what really differentiates a successful entrepreneur from a mediocre entrepreneur. And
do you remember what age you were when he first started talking to you about these type of things?
Yeah, I think we had economic lessons around the dinner table when I was perhaps 10.
Okay.
And it was just a constant conversation. My dad really did not separate his business life from his personal life, and the people that he did business with were friends, and the people who were friends he would end up doing business with. So the discussions around the table, whether it was economics or talking about entrepreneurial lessons, is something that I've really always lived with.
So persistence was one. What were maybe the top 3 or 4 lessons that he taught you?
So
that you use today?
Do what you say you're going to do. So your word is really your number one currency. So if you tell somebody that you are going to do something or behave in a certain way or follow a certain path, if you're not going to do that, you need to reconcile that. So do what you say you're going to do. Yeah, I think taking no for an answer really goes back to that persistence thing. I think that was a pretty significant lesson.
So no doesn't necessarily always mean no.
You know, you need to if you believe passionately in a project, you need to figure out what the solution is. You know, entrepreneurial ventures are often a Rubik's Cube, and you have to keep spinning until you find a combination that might work, and you might be able to navigate through the hurdles that you're facing.
What type of businesses was your father running?
Predominantly high tech. He came out of a engineering degree, went into IBM, spent a number of years there, then into Standard Computer, and then he got involved in a company which he did a management buyout of and then took public called Cipher Data, and that was in the tape storage business.
And did he raise you believing that you were going to be a businessman as well, or did he kind of leave the field open to exploring what your talents and maybe your passion might be later in life?
He was pretty open about that, but I think that when sons look up to their fathers, they often follow not too far in those footsteps. So business was always something that I thought I'd be involved in.
What were some of the tough lessons that you saw your father go through that you learned from and have used today?
Probably the biggest challenge for an entrepreneur is when tough times come, how do you make the judgment call to double down, to leverage your house, to leverage your personal assets? At some ventures, that's appropriate. When you're in a venture-backed company where you have others involved and they have the predominant amount of the capital base, maybe that's not appropriate. But there's other ways of using human capital to double down. So continuing to give that push.
Is there a rule of thumb for that? When do you know to kind of throw in the towel, and when do you know to ante up?
That's tough. It's going to be situational specific, and what you really need to do is to build a good group of advisors who can help you in your business, and you believe in the business, get them to believe in the business, but then listen to them as they can interpret external events and help you to interpret them and make decisions. But that's a tough call.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.